I'm sure you guys know, prioritizing through the litany of notifications, like, oh, this cool person followed you, or this person liked your comment. And I was about to come down to shoot my podcast, and my boys in here just hear me go, like, just real loud, just like gasped, because Miss Rachel followed me.
Right?
I was like, what? And then I DM'd her and I
know.
said, you're the best. This is awesome. OMG. And then she responded. I'm like, what the heck? This is crazy.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Miss Rachel responded to you?
And responded. I was overwhelmed.
Wow.
Because she's the leading advocate right now, and honestly, such great proof of the propaganda effort from Israel that she's like the number one advocate for the kids around the world. And you know the amount of people that DM me, like, you're platforming this Zionist controlled piece of propaganda. I'm like, Zionist? That don't even make sense. What are you talking about?
No, I love Miss Rachel. And the thing is, I wouldn't have known who she was, really. I mean, I had an inkling because I have one friend with a toddler person, so I've heard of her, but I wouldn't have ever known. And she wasn't particularly political. And so this is an example of backfiring Hasbara. Because they pissed her off, and she's got quite a following. See, and she is the person that's going to be educating the younger people, and they can't handle that. And she wasn't going out of her way to talk about this. This wasn't like her main. This wasn't her jam. But now it is.
Well, I think we have something to share with you, Zach, that I think Miss Rachel would probably approve of as well. Jen, you did a little social experiment earlier today, if you'd like to share.
Oh, you want me to do my slow burn? Okay, well, first I have to start with the graphic, because this is the fancy. We're going to do today's slow burn, guys. And it's slow. It's slow, and yet it's a burn in more ways than one. So today, for people who don't realize, is Yom Kippur. Or was, I guess, until sundown. And I am not a practicing Jew. I don't claim to be a practicing Jew, but it just happens to be Yom Kippur. So I thought this was an opportune moment to do this clip. So I filmed myself today, and this is where we are. Hi, everyone. Today is Yom Kippur, which is the Jewish Day of Atonement. So I thought that I would do what I do every year for what I atone for most, which is ever supporting this ethno-Zio hellscape that's committing a Holocaust. You see this? See it? See it? Fuck Israel, free Palestine. That's it. And I just sat there and watched it burn. That was what I did today.
Now, apparently that is a crime.
That just made me want to do it more.
You can burn the American flag if you want, but you can't burn the Israeli. If you burn the Israel flag in the state of Florida, you could technically be, I guess, could you get arrested for it? Is that what could happen?
Well, we're going to find out, I guess, but we'll see what happens. But I'm just one of those people, and people who know me, especially from childhood. If you tell me not to do something, I'm doing it with bells on. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it repeatedly. I'm going to do it in front of you repeatedly. Like, that's just how it's going to be. So don't tell me what I can do.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then I just thought that it was a good day of atonement to atone for being part of an ethno-Zio state.
When you started speaking out against this, did you have people telling you probably shouldn't do this? It's not a good idea, especially when you have a large platform, make money, it could probably get you in trouble. Did you ever have any second thoughts about speaking up against what was going on in Gaza? Or were you just like, you know what, it's the right thing to do, I got to do it?
Are you talking to me?
Talking to Zach.
Okay, I was going to say, you know my story.
Yes.
I decided, I don't know what the first mention of it was, but I decided to do it when I simply had done enough research on my own to come to a conclusion. And about everything. About the way our economy is set up, about the opportunity for the next generation, my thought process on whether or not we are walking toward an economic collapse and money printing, all these are opinions that I've generated off of other very smart individuals. I consider myself a professional sponge. You know, I only followed sports growing up. I could tell you the backup right guard for most NFL teams, right? I couldn't tell you who was in a Senate seat or how many there were. Legislative branch sounds like it's part of a tree. I got no clue. I want to throw a ball. So coming of age and getting in the business and then having that business get shortfalled by the own economy it was running in, I started learning about it. And that got me to the top. And the billionaires and the Zionists and the mega corporations and the political leaders and the Epsteins, they're all in the same pot. They all connect back to the same things. Heck, did you know the 2008 housing market crash? Bear Stearns, the first bank that crashed, they were funneling their toxic mortgage assets through a Bermuda shell company ran by Jeffrey Epstein. There's so many connections that just every time you get to the bottom of it, it's like, really? You again? Like the CEO of Blackstone who founded Larry Fink and BlackRock, that he was the guy that gave Nixon the report that got us off the gold standard? That's weird. That's just, it's all odd. And you get down to the root of it. You get to the Balfour Declaration. You go look at the Rothschild family. It's all the same names, the same people that are perpetuating this nonsense to get us to get behind them for a war. Heck, my own religion. I'm a Christian. My own religion has been blackballed into this European nationalist bullshit that is completely misbranded how following Christ should be modeled, and into this Judeo-Christian, like, what is even that? The people that crucified him, we're also going to take on some of their traits and their values? It doesn't make any sense. So it just, in seeing more and more and more for myself, just, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem right. Like, I'm a Christian. Do I have to support Israel? Is that really what I have to do? Or does Genesis 12 maybe have a different meaning? You know, are there other support? Oh, there are other supporting narratives. Okay. And then slowly building up. And it gave me the confidence with the baseline of my own research and others to know, okay, this is the right side of history. People are not going to like it because of mainstream media propagandizing them and believing their ideology is wrapped in a certain color of red or blue. That's on them. My job while I'm on this earth is to talk about the truth. And I believe this all wraps all the way back to the reason people can't afford housing. So I'm going to talk about it.
No, it's important. It's important. And denial of housing is violence. Denial of healthcare is violence. Denial of housing is violence. And when people start to realize that they're being violent against us, then it doesn't seem like things are just, random, when it's actually self-defense. Right?
Yeah,
like
violence used to be obvious. Like, they would show up with horses and swords across the valley. Like, you're like, oh, we're being attacked. Now it's just quiet and financial.
Exactly.
Well, I think it would only be fitting, since you do a really good job of putting content together in 2 to 3 minute clips, of all the clips that I actually pulled to basically introduce you to our audience tonight, it just so happened to have been the clip about Jeffrey Epstein. So we're going to play it right now.
In files and an affordable home. Listen to this. In 2000, there was a company named Liquid Funding LTE that was founded. It was founded in Bermuda and was known as a shell company. A shell company is when a real company buys a fake company in order to hide assets from their public shareholders.
Now, did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Do you now understand what a shell company is when you hear about? Because we're always saying, where are all these shell companies? Where are they going? Let's play it one more time. Just a little tutelage. We're going to learn. This is what a shell company is.
And was known as a shell company. A shell company is when a real company buys a fake company in order to hide assets from their public shareholders. The company that did this was named Bear Stearns. Bear Stearns is a bank that fell on March 2008. It was the first domino that fell that created the housing market crash. Okay, check this out. So, Bear Stearns buys Liquid Funding Ltd. They utilize it as a shell company to hide what's called CMOs. They had toxic CMOs, toxic mortgages, subprime mortgages that they need reorganized, and they need them reorganized in a way that they could sell them back off as good mortgages. So what Liquid Funding did is they took all the mortgages from Bear Stearns for the most part and reshuffled them into new decks. Imagine they had all these playing cards out on the floor, and they were upside down and folded up and wet and weird. And their job was to dry clean, unfold, reorganize, and repackage a nice new deck they could sell off and make it look good. But in reality, it was like a financial ticking time bomb.
That is essentially what happened. And I would assume that you've done even more extensive research pertaining to this. It really is a house of cards in so many ways.
And a lot of it goes back to that very year, 2008, because we get TARP. The toxic or troubled asset relief program that Henry Paulson brought in front of Congress for, I believe it was originally $700 billion, ended up only being like $400 billion. Only about $28 billion of that went to anything in regards to housing or a normal person. The rest went to top line accounts and bonuses. And we invented on the other side, because that was just the bank bailout, we invented QE. 2008 was supposed to be worse. The free market demanded more pain. And instead, we short-sighted it by printing money to buy bonds because bond rates were too high, freezing the credit market, freezing up banks. Banks weren't even lending to each other because they didn't trust each other's liquidity after Bear fell, after Lehman Brothers fell. So we're not getting new credit. They're not lending to one another. It completely froze. The only way to get bond rates down, to get the bond investor to trust our economy again, was to print boatloads of money and buy the bonds ourselves. And we've done it 4 times since, and we're going to have to do it again. So Bear was bailed out by a combination of the Federal Reserve and, they were bailed out. Lehman's Brothers, they allowed to just kind of fall off the face of the earth. And Goldman Sachs was bailed out privately by Ken Lewis and Bank of America.
Yes, and the fear, of course, is that we're heading for another bailout situation because we are clearly in another recession. Anyone who knows anything about real estate knows we're in it. And so what are they going to do to actually deal with this problem? Are the rich ever going to bear responsibility? Not until you come after them with pitchforks. At least that's kind of the way I see it. It's a rigged game, and they've rigged it in their favor, and they'll continue to do it until we do something about it.
And this is why when we talk about housing, I typically say there's a better chance of it doubling than crashing, because there's no benefit to the billionaire for it to crash. And there's so much corporate ownership at this point. We don't have enough normal people that could get priced out.
Exactly.
And so I think it's even scarier to think about it never crashing. It just keeps going up and keeps going up. And then what was it? WEF's phrase of by 2030, you'll rent and be happy, rent everything and be happy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going back to a feudalism. We're going to be serfs, and you'll own nothing and you'll be happy about that. And that's where it's going. I mean, it's horrifying.
Unless we do something about it. Finish it up.
This financial ticking time bomb led to the 2008 housing market crash. Bear Stearns was the first big domino that fell to cause it. And the chairman in charge of creating the collateralized mortgage obligations for Bear Stearns that inevitably were sold back out into the public banking market that caused the great financial crisis of 2008, their chairman was none other than Jeffrey Epstein. And if that doesn't grind your gears, I don't know what will.
Am I the only one that hates watching videos of myself?
I was just going to say, do you like, because I don't
We're
like
going to do
Peter.
it once.
Peter knows I hate it. Like, and it had to happen enough times in running for Congress that I was like, it was really not good.
But I think that comes from a point of almost a point of perfection, which is a demon in and of itself. Being a perfectionist is not good. Being a people pleaser. But at the same time, you're not liking it, at least if it's coming from the same angle as me. It's like, oh, I could have said this a little bit better. Oh, I stuttered that. You know, kind of looking for the holes to improve.
Yeah, it's that. And just, I don't particularly need to hear myself. Like, if
I hear my own voice, I'm like, wow, I should
myself.
just die. Got it.
Well, I think it doesn't bother me. I mean,
Peter likes to hear himself talk. That's why he has a whole show called Pontificating with Peter.
Well, he's got a nice, dark, sultry voice. I get it. It's like talking from the back.
Darling, behave. But speaking of a person who really loves to hear himself, and listen, in conclusion, there is no question that whatever we think we know about Epstein, whatever we think we know about the Mossad, we know this much. I often say, you're only allowed to know what the people who have real power allow you to know. And I know a few people who have real power. And I can assure you, as I assure the audience, as I assure the entire world, I have been around people that have power. And they look at us like we're ants. Like we do not matter.
Not at all.
It's a means to an end. And don't even think about getting out of line. That's just kind of how it is. Until we decide that that's not how it's going to be anymore.